one of the people that I think is the most interesting in politics or media right now, which is Tulsi Gabbard, again, who is you guys know this, she was a Democrat, a progressive, a lefty her entire life. She has now at least left the Democrat Party. She goes on Tucker a lot. She's hanging out with, crazy right-wingers like Dave Rubin, and she has been guest hosting for Tucker. And she had on, just over the last couple of days, there is a Republican congressman, newly elected Republican congressman, George Santos. And you may have heard about this story. It has now turned out, as he has been elected, so he won, he is now a congressional freshman. It is turning out that his entire resume is a lie. Not only the places that he worked, but he pretended that he had family members who I think were Holocaust survivors. Then I think he said he was gay, but it turned out he was married to a woman. Like it's like such a crazy, ridiculous story. Anyway, Tulsi, guest hosting for Tucker, had him on and did what Barbara Walters did. She asked the tough questions.
You don't really seem to be taking this seriously. You've apologized. You said you've made mistakes, but you've outright lied. A lie is not an embellishment on a resume. You said you worked at Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, but they've said, we've got no record of this guy working for us. You've said you've gone to and graduated from these universities, but they've said, well, we've got no record of that. These are blatant lies, and it calls into question how your constituents and the American people can believe anything that you may say when you are standing on the floor of the House of Representatives, supposedly fighting for them. That's the real issue here.
Well, look, I agree with what you're saying, and as I stated, and I continue, we can debate my resume and how I worked with firms such as Goldman and Citigroup.
Is it debatable or is it just false?
No,
is it debatable or is it just
debatable.
False?
No, it's not false at all. It's debatable. I can sit down and explain to you what you can do in private equity, in capital intro, via servicing limited partners and general partners. And we can have this discussion that's going to go way above the American people's head. But that's not what I campaigned on. I campaigned on delivering results for the American people by lowering inflation. I can sit down, and if you want to have that discussion, I'd be glad to, Tulsi, to explain that to you and make sure that we settle the score.
This is not about settling scores, and I think you just kind of highlighted, I think, my concern and the concern that people at home have. You're saying that this discussion will go way above the heads of the American people, basically insulting their intelligence.
I actually don't even want to make this about this Santos guy, and it's to some degree, I don't even care that he lied about his resume. People lie about all sorts of things now. I would prefer that they did not. But the media now, the rest of the media, which is not interviewing him, which is just talking about him, is saying he has to step down and how could he lie? And oh my God, lying is so bad. And again, I don't like lying. But if only they had ever asked questions about another guy who lies a lot. Because there's this guy who's always stumbling and fumbling around. Do you know who I'm talking about? And he's always kind of like wandering and saying crazy things and pretty much lying about everything.
I got raised in the black church. He knows I'm not kidding. I got my education for real in the black church. And that's not hyperbole, it's a fact.
I probably went to shul more than many of you did. You all think I'm kidding. He can tell you I'm not.
I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home, politically. I just have one thing to say. Hang on. All right.